Hour 1, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Location, Calgary, Alberta. Second floor apartment. Hikikomori woke up with a migraine drilling through his temples like a dull corkscrew. His phone buzzed non-stop beside him, lighting the shadowy room in fits and starts. "Why the hell is my For You page so damn quiet?" he muttered, voice hoarse. No trends, no thirst traps, no live streams, just pixelated news clips and looping sirens. His room smelled like instant ramen and damp blankets. Posters curled on the edges. His bat, aluminum, dented, spray-painted black, leaned beside his Bowie knife, which he'd bought for a sponsored Apocalypse prep skit 2 months ago. It was all irony then. Now it just felt heavy. A knock, 3 quick raps, a pause. Then again, he stood, shirtless, disoriented, opened the door. There she was. "Fei Lian?" he said, blinking twice. "You saw your phone?" she asked. Her voice was soft but clipped. She wore a white crop top under an oversized hoodie, eyes ringed with the kind of fear you don't get from horror movies, only from live footage. Real blood, real chaos. "You look like hell," Hikikomori said, already switching into the performative half of his brain. That version of him always knew what to say. Charming, calculated, measured pause, eye contact, tilted smirk. "Something's happening. There's no flights, no signal, just emergency alerts in Mandarin and French. Did you try WeChat? Down. Everything's down. Come inside." She did. Wordless, quiet, the type of quiet that wraps around you and pulls tight. Hikikomori locked the door. Phone buzzed again. 37 new followers from a clip he posted 2 days ago. How I'd survived day 1 of the apocalypse. Comment section now read like prophecy. He rewatched the clip. Rule 1, wake up early. Rule 2, don't trust sirens. Rule 3, find the people who panic quietly. They survive longer. He turned to Fei Lian. "How long have you been up?" "Since 4. My mom called from Beijing, screaming. Then, just static. You need water. Protein bar. Adrenaline's gonna crash hard in 20 minutes. She stared at him like he wasn't the guy she ignored for 6 months. Not the recluse with 300k followers. Not the Filipino guy who rarely left his room. "You're not panicking," she whispered. "Not yet." He smiled without warmth. "I'm waiting for a reason." Outside, a distant scream broke the morning fog. They both flinched. Hikikomori picked up his bat. The steel caught the light like a quiet promise. "We've got 12 hours to figure out if this is hell or just the tutorial level," he said. Fei Lian hesitated. "You have a plan?" "I always do. Just never had a reason to use it." "Want me to continue into hour 2? Hour 2, 7 a.m. Location, Calgary, Alberta. Apartment hallway, then street level. The air outside was dead still. No birds, no wind, just the low, distant sound of a siren caught in an endless loop. "You're walking barefoot, Fei Lian." I panicked. "That's fine," Hikikomori said, kneeling. He opened the gym bag he'd packed half-jokingly for a content collab. "If the world ends, I'm going out styled." Now it held gauze, energy bars, 2 knives and backup slides. He handed her sneakers. "You were joking when you said the world would end, right? I joke about everything, especially the truth." They moved downstairs. He walked like he'd done this before. Back straight, bat resting on his shoulder, eyes scanning every shadow. Faye followed closely, clutching her phone. Outside, the street was a slow-motion car crash. A patrol cruiser had slammed into a light post. One officer lay sprawled on the pavement, leg twisted unnaturally. The other was screaming into her radio. That's when they saw him. First zombie, shirtless, pale, wet with blood. He staggered forward like he was drunk, but not aimless. Eyes locked on the injured cop. Movements sharpened. He pounced. "Hey!" Hikikomori shouted, voice like a whip crack. The zombie looked up. "Over here, asshole." He didn't hesitate. The bat connected with a wet crack. Shoulder first, then temple. Skull gave way like wet drywall. Faye gasped. Hikikomori didn't flinch. "What was that?" the surviving officer yelled. "That's not human anymore." Hikikomori turned, wiping blood off the bat with his shirt. "You need to get off the street. Radio's dead. It's not just your city. Who the hell are you? I'm the guy who just saved your partner, and I'm not asking twice." Power shifted, just like that. The officer hesitated, then nodded, breath shaking. "Call me Hikikomori," he said, smirking as sirens died out completely. They dragged the injured cop into a laundromat, locked the door, covered the windows. Outside, a small crowd of confused neighbors was forming, phones in their hands, staring, waiting for answers. Nobody wanted to say the Z word yet, but everyone felt it. "You want to survive?" Hikikomori said loud enough for the crowd to hear. "Then you follow me." Faye looked at him like he was glowing. TikTok opened. LTE still alive for now. Notifications flooded in. Bro predicted this? No way this man's actually surviving day one. He's him. They're calling it a riot in Toronto. Bruh, that ain't no riot. He went live for 90 seconds, just long enough. Day 1. Calgary, undead confirmed. Police are falling. Government's quiet. Don't trust the news. Don't leave home unless you got a plan. This isn't panic, it's adaptation. You follow the calm one. You follow the one still thinking. That's me. Follower count ticked up. Back inside, the injured cop was fading. She looked up, blood down her chin. "Is this foreign?" "Virus origin unknown," Hikikomori answered. "American labs," the male cop muttered. "Or Chinese. It doesn't matter, it's here now." Political tension cracked through the room like a lightning bolt. The mood turned darker. Everyone had a theory. Everyone wanted to blame someone. But Hikikomori just stood still, commanding, calculated, watching them all unravel. Blame won't help you, strategy will. He looked at the neighbors. "Grab food, water, tape, anything sharp. You've got 10 minutes. We're forming a team." Faye stood beside him, eyes wide. "You're not scared," she said quietly. "I am," he replied. "I'm just using it better than they are." "Want me to continue hour 3? Hour 3. 8A, location Calgary, abandoned laundromat, then parking lot. The blood hadn't dried on his bat yet. It clung like rust, smelled like iron and adrenaline. Hikikomori stood in front of a dozen people, neighbors, strangers, a bleeding cop and Fei Lian, like a conductor in a collapsing orchestra. His voice had weight now. Every syllable landed with finality. "This is not your world anymore. This is mine. You want to survive? You move when I say move. You breathe when I tell you it's safe." Fei Lian leaned against the counter, watching him with arms crossed, lips tight. He wasn't the same boy who made thirst traps at 2 a.m. He was darker now, colder. She liked it, hated herself for liking it. "You're enjoying this," she said quietly. "I didn't make the rules, Fei. I just play the game better than anyone else." She looked down at the knife in her hand, still clean. "I don't want to play." "You already are." Outside, they moved to the adjacent parking lot. Cars were abandoned at odd angles, blood streaks, empty baby stroller, no bodies, just the aftermath. He was already thinking 5 steps ahead. 2 new survivors were trying to break into a pharmacy across the street. One had a wrench, the other just a belt wrapped around his fist. A horde was maybe 2 minutes out. Hikikomori ran. "Move," he shouted, voice cutting through the fog of panic. "You're too slow. You're going to get us all killed." He crashed into one of them mid-run, shoved him aside. The other tripped. Too slow. He swung the bat with surgical cruelty. First zombie's jaw snapped sideways like wet plaster. Second lost half its face. Blood sprayed his arms, neck, lips. He didn't stop. Third one went down harder. TikTok buzzed in his back pocket. "Is this real?" Bro's turning into a warlord live. "I'd follow him far." Later, inside the locked pharmacy, survivors huddled and watched him pace like a general. Someone called him a psychopath. Fei Lian didn't argue, not anymore. She sat next to him, inches apart. "You're not scared of me?" "I am," she said. "Good." He leaned closer, her breath caught. "But I'd rather be scared next to you than brave next to anyone else." She looked at his bloodied chest, his jaw clenched, his hand resting lightly on her thigh. It was working, all of it. The power, the danger, the tension. It was addictive. The cop died. She was turning. One of the crowd sobbed. Hikikomori didn't hesitate. He slid the knife across her throat, then held her hand as she bled out. She was already gone. Calm, charismatic, clinical. Another TikTok clip uploaded automatically. "This dude's colder than the virus. Is it bad I'm into him now? He just mercy killed a cop and made it poetic." And just like that, the power shifted again. He wasn't just the leader now. He was the dark hero, the survivor who did what others couldn't. And Fei Lian? She didn't blink anymore. She followed him like a shadow. The political drama started on the pharmacy TV. Static, then a US official blaming Canada's slow lockdown, accusations of biotesting, American proxy politics, something military leaking from a joint base up north. No answers, just shadows. And Hikikomori? He smiled. Let them tear each other apart. I'll build something from the ruins. Faye whispered, You're not who I thought. I never was. Bro just gave me chills. This is the villain arc. I'd still die for him. Want to continue to hour 4? Hour 4, 9 a.m. Location, Calgary, inside the pharmacy, then rooftop access. The smell of iodine couldn't cover the copper stink of blood. Broken tiles, shattered windows, flickering fluorescent lights overhead. The cop's body was wrapped in an emergency blanket, shoved in the corner. Nobody talked about her. They just stared at Hikikomori. He stood in the middle of the room, bat leaning against the counter, Bowie knife sheathed on his thigh. He hadn't wiped the blood off either, on purpose. Power radiated from him now, undeniable, cold, hypnotic. He looked like a villain you begged to follow. He opened TikTok. His front camera was smudged with blood. Still alive, for now. Calgary's not safe. The cops are dead. Your government abandoned you. You want to live. He looked dead into the camera, calm and charismatic. Find someone stronger than you and follow them, or die scared and alone, up to you. He posted it. Seconds later, the comments came in. Why is he so calm? This feels like a movie, but it's real. I don't trust him, but I'd still follow. Hikikomori's building an army, isn't he? Fei Lian sat next to him, legs drawn up, eyes glassy. She hadn't cried, not since they got out, but something in her was unraveling. You're enjoying the control. Because I know how to use it. What happens when you have too much of it? He looked at her, smirked. Then I win. A beat. She leaned in, whispering low, vulnerable and fierce. I don't know if I love you or fear you. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. Same. Noise outside, screaming. 3 figures sprinted toward the pharmacy, one limping, the others dragging a child. A small horde followed, 10 deep. No time to argue. A survivor girl near the door tried to open it. Don't. Hikikomori's voice was ice. But there's a kid. You open that door, they break through, we all die. She hesitated. Everyone did. Hikikomori stood, walked past her, pulled open the door himself. I said I'll make the call. He stepped out, screamed, Get up here! Move! I'll cover you! One zombie got too close. Bat connected with the jaw. Half the head came off. Blood sprayed the pavement like a hose. The kid screamed. Hikikomori didn't flinch. He dragged the last survivor up himself, hand clenched around her collar. Door slammed shut, bolted. Survivors stared. He had made a brutal call, then risked everything anyway. It wasn't mercy, it was control, and they all felt it. He posted again. I make the ugly decisions. You survive. That's the trade. Comments exploded. He's terrifying and I trust him. We're watching a dictator get born in real time. Protect this man at all costs. On the roof, as wind picked up and clouds darkened, Faye stood with him, arms crossed. You're using this platform like it's a weapon. It is. Attention is currency. Followers are power. I don't need prayers. I need people to obey. And if I disobey? He looked at her closer than before. You won't. She didn't answer, just stepped closer. The space between them was charged. Fear, admiration, heat. She touched his arm. It was trembling slightly, but only where no one could see. The world below howled like something ancient and hungry. And Hikikomori smiled just a little. The virus hadn't just ended civilization. It had crowned him. Hour 5, 10 a.m. Location, pharmacy rooftop, office complex rooftop across the street. Status 23 followers, 11 survivors. Blood everywhere. The rooftops were safer, barely. Cold wind, screams echoing from below, smoke on the horizon, buildings burned like forgotten warnings. The city was falling, and up here, Hikikomori was rising. He was their gravity now, their anchor. The rooftop crew followed his every word, every command, every nod. And when he said, we move in 10, no one questioned it, not even Fei Lian. She sat with her legs dangling over the ledge, hoodie zipped up, eyes locked on a photo in her cracked phone. That your family? He asked, crouching beside her. She hesitated. Shanghai, 2018, my mom's still there, or was. Modeling? She was the model, I was just the girl she made pretty. She said it like a scar, and for a moment, Hikikomori saw it. Under the flawless skin and fierce eyes, there was a girl too used to being sold as a fantasy. They never saw you, he said. You do? He didn't answer, just held a gaze. That was answer enough. Flashback. 3 years ago. Manila. Hikikomori's real name was Joel Aragon. Nobody called him that anymore. Too soft, too real. He used to dance in EDSA crosswalks for tips. Used to go home with bloody lips when the wrong men noticed his makeup. Now those same skills, performance, seduction, cold reading, voice control, were survival tools. He wasn't acting anymore. He was the lie. They moved. A rival faction had set up in the office complex across the street. 20 survivors. Armed, organized, cops and ex-military. They watched Hikikomori's group move from rooftop to rooftop, didn't offer help, didn't answer the radio. Until Hikikomori hacked into the building's PA system using a rescued IT student and charisma like a scalpel. I know you're listening, he said, voice live across their floor. You've got the guns, we've got the audience, you can keep hiding, or we can make a deal. Silence. Then a response. What kind of deal? The kind where you live long enough to matter. They let him in, but it was a trap. 3 armed survivors tried to seize Fei Lian. They wanted her. Pretty face. Leverage, breeding stock, old world sickness in new world rot. They didn't expect Hikikomori to cut a man's throat with his Bowie knife while still smiling. Didn't expect the girl they tried to kidnap to smash a fire extinguisher across one of their skulls. Blood. Screams. Power shift. After the chaos, you manipulated them, Fei Lian whispered. No. He wiped blood off his fingers. I led them. There's a difference. She looked at him like something holy and horrifying. You'd kill for me? I'd kill to make the next hour easier. But yeah, you're part of that now. She didn't flinch. She leaned in and kissed him, fast. Dangerous, like she might never get another chance. They kissed with blood still on their lips. TikTok buzzed. He checked it mid-cleanup. He's getting scarier. I'd still follow, though. This isn't leadership, it's a cult. Bro's building a kingdom in real time. He looked at the camera, pressed record. There are no heroes left, just people with knives and nerve. I'm both. Welcome to Hour 5. Post, no filter, blood on his jaw. He smiled and meant it. Hour 6, 11 a.m. Location, rooftop of the office complex, northeast Calgary. Status, 16 survivors, 40k TikTok followers, 1 body cooling in the stairwell. Blood still ran down the stairwell when Hikikomori addressed the room. This isn't a democracy. He stood in front of the ragtag survivors, some armed, most trembling, all watching him like he was the last candle in the blackout. Fei Lian stood behind him, quiet. Her eyes locked on the man Hikikomori killed. A former cop, tried to trade her like old currency. He bled out choking on his own badge. Nobody cried for him. The ex-cop's allies, 4 of them, sat in silence. One was missing 2 fingers. The others didn't dare move. Hikikomori pointed to one. You. What's your name? What's your value, Cameron? I used to run logistics for a contractor. I know how to manage supply routes. Good, he tossed Cameron a marker. Then write down everything we have, everything we need, and everything we're not admitting. Power shifted again. Clean, quiet, brutal. He wasn't asking. He never really asked. TikTok Live, a blood-speckled feed. Survivors behind him, a city burning behind them. The camera didn't blink, neither did he. Hour 6 update. I've saved 16 lives. The cops are either dead or feeding. The government's offline. No one's coming. But I'm still here. He smiled. Not kind, not safe. Welcome to the new Canada. Follow if you want to live. Comments exploded. He's too calm, too cold. I can't stop watching. Is this real? Is that blood? He's not saving people. He's building a kingdom. I trust him more than I trust my fucking mayor. Back inside, things shifted faster. Cameron's list showed the truth. Food, 2 days max. Water, less. Ammo. 8 rounds total. Morale, collapsing. Hikikomori read it, then looked around. We need a new base, a defensible one, with water. We can't move, someone said. It's suicide. He cut them off with just a look. You can't move. I will. Then he pointed to 3 people. You're with me. Fei Lian, gear up. They moved out. 6 blocks east. Old municipal building abandoned since the first surge, windows broken, but it had a water tank, a rooftop radio, steel doors, and a dying cop inside, shot in the gut, bleeding out on a desk. They ambushed us. My sergeant said the mayor ordered a retreat, left us behind. Where's the mayor now? Hikikomori asked. Probably on a private jet. Hikikomori recorded him, let him say it all, then turned the camera to himself. Still think your leaders care? This is what they left us with. You want protection? You want food? You want justice? Follow me. He posted it. 10,000 more followers in an hour, and one more survivor added to his army. Calgary burned, the politicians hid, the cops crumbled, and Hikikomori, he kept rising. Darker, smarter, deadlier, and every soul he saved, every lie he told, every eye that turned to him, he felt it, the crown pressing closer. Hour 7, 12 p.m, location abandoned school, northeast quadrant. Status, 21 survivors, 57k TikTok followers, 3 dead, betrayal bleeds. Gunfire snapped the silence as they entered the old high school, hallways littered with backpacks and half-eaten corpses, dried blood dragged across lockers. This was someone's last stand, and they lost. Hikikomori stepped through it like a shadow wearing skin. Phalian behind him, covering 6 with a cop's old sidearm. She didn't ask how many he killed for it. She didn't want to know. The betrayal came at 12:17 p.m. A medic named Joy tried to lead 6 survivors away, secretly, quietly, thinking she could do better. She didn't get far. Hikikomori found her near the gymnasium, trying to hotwire an old police cruiser. She froze. He didn't. You were going to split, he said, not angry, not even surprised. You're not a leader. You're a virus, she spat. He walked toward her, slow, deliberate, pulled the Bowie knife from his back like peeling skin. I'm not leading. I'm evolving. Then he sliced the radio out of the car, left her alive. Barely. Enough to walk back and explain to the others why it was a mistake to doubt him. Phalian patched Joy up. You could have killed her. I did, Hikikomori said, just slower. You scare me, she whispered. You're still here, he replied, their eyes locked. Dangerous now. Magnetic. Something was building between them. Not soft, not safe, but inevitable. TikTok live. Bloodstained desks behind him, survivors eating canned beans in silence. Hour 7 update, 21 souls still breathing, 1 traitor humbled, 1 step closer to permanent shelter. Comments rolled in fast, he's turning into a warlord. I'd follow this man into hell. That girl with the gun, are they together? New Canada's gonna be built on bodies. He should run for president, or king. Hikikomori smiled at the screen. This is war. You don't survive by being good. The American proxy broadcast hit at 12:48 p.m, a military signal. Scrambled, fuzzy, a southern accented voice through static. Containment failed, Calgary compromised. Deploy drone strike if no contact by 1700 hours. Repeat. Panic swept the survivors. A drone strike? In 6 hours? What does it mean? Someone asked. Hikikomori stepped forward, took the map, drew a thick X where they were, then a bigger one 5 blocks away, an old storm bunker under a government building. It means we move, or we burn. Backstory, whispered through blood. Phalian, once on a Vogue China cover, once worth $100,000 in brand deals. Now aiming pistols and stitching wounds. She told him about the man who sold her out in Beijing, the reason she left, the reason she fights. He said I was only valuable pretty. I want to be valuable ugly. Then stay with me, Hikikomori said, voice low. We'll make ugly beautiful. They moved. 3 more survivors rescued from a trapped stairwell. 1 bitten, 1 weeping, 1 child. Hikikomori carried the child himself. And as he passed the TikTok camera, he said, this is what real kings carry. Not crowns. The audience roared, blood and charisma, brutality and leadership, and something darker growing in his eyes. Phalian saw it, and she didn't look away. Hour 8, 1 p.m. Location, Roosevelt High School, cafeteria turned base. Stat 25 survivors, 76k TikTok followers, 1 rival faction warning shot, 1 zombie horde scattered. The minor horde came first, 10 of them. Broken jaws, twitching fingers, running like animals with bones for shoes. A little girl screamed as one slammed through a window. Fei Lian pulled her close. Hikikomori was already moving. The aluminum bat cracked open the skull like a gourd, then another, then another. Blood splashed across his face. He didn't blink. He protected the girl, then picked up the pieces of her father. Buried the man with his own hands. No shovel. No words, just grit. More joined. 4 survivors from a grocery store siege. 1 dying, 1 shell-shocked. They begged to join. Hikikomori didn't speak. He pointed. Fei Lian checked their necks. No bites. They stayed. At 1:22 p.m., the rival faction announced themselves. 4 men, real military gear, painted on their body armor. Civilian peacekeepers, Red Cross Unit No. 19. They left a radio at the school gate. No one saw them arrive. The message: "You're harboring a TikTok lunatic. He's not a leader. He's a threat. Turn him over or we turn you off." Hikikomori crushed the radio under his boot. They're not peacekeepers, they're vultures. He stared out the window as the blood dried on his hands. We're not a group anymore, we're a battalion. Brutal decisions followed. Rations were halved. The cafeteria's weakest were assigned to fortify walls. No more pity. Fei Lian questioned him. "That old man can't lift a chair and you're making him stack desks?" Hikikomori stared back. "He'll die if he can't adapt. I'm giving him purpose." But later, behind closed doors, he found Fei Lian treating her bruised ankle. He knelt, hands still shaking from the last kill, bandaged her silently, gently. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He just wrapped the cloth around her, slow, careful, precise. The killer became a caretaker. Just for her. She watched him work. "You're not what I expected." He met her gaze. "Neither are you." TikTok live. Camera shaky. Gunshots in the distance. Sunlight dying behind cracked blinds. Hour 8 update. 25 survivors. 1 rival faction. 1 warning. "I protect my people, no matter the cost. This school is ours now. Next. Hey. We take the fire station." Comments filled the feed. "Why am I in love with a sociopath? He's becoming a warlord in real time. I'd follow him, even if he kills me. Is that girl okay? The one with the gun? Protect Fei Lian at all costs." Hikikomori didn't read them, but he knew. They weren't watching a survivor. They were watching a general being born. And war was just getting started. Hour 9, 2 p.m., 3 location, Roosevelt High School rooftop. Smoke, silence, blood. Status: 29 survivors, 85k TikTok followers, Fei Lian wounded, 1 near confession, 12 more undead. The sky was orange. Smoke from the east, then screaming, then fire. A convoy had crashed on Preston Avenue, another survivor group led by an ex-cop. They were ambushed by a feeding pack. No one helped them. Hikikomori watched from the rooftop, didn't blink, didn't flinch. Then he said one thing. "We go!" The others hesitated. Fei Lian stepped forward, limping, eyes locked on him. He handed her his knife. "You're on overwatch." They found 6 alive. Dragged them back, 2 missing limbs. 1 bitten, young, crying, begging. The group argued, screamed, pleaded. Hikikomori stood above them all, then made the call. "Put him down." Fei Lian's voice cracked. "He's just a kid." "Then he dies as one, or kills as one." The room went silent. The bat came down. Blood sprayed the walls. No one argued again. Twist. One of the rescued wasn't bitten. He was infected, injected with something. Burning veins, pupil dilation, rage. He turned mid-conversation, snapped a survivor's neck, bit off another's face before anyone could scream. Gunshots, screams, gore. Hikikomori tackled him off a ledge, broke 3 ribs, crushed the infected's face into a bench until it was pulp. The rest stared in horror. He stood over the mess, heaving, bleeding. Then turned to Fei Lian, walked up to her, pupils wild, covered in blood, shaking, alive, and said one thing. "You're the only thing in this hell that keeps me sane." She didn't respond. She stared at him like he was something else now. Something darker, something monstrous, something magnetic. He didn't wait for a reply. He walked into the dark hallway, weapon ready. They followed, because no one else knew what the hell to do. TikTok live, did he just bash that guy's face in? Bro's gone full psycho Batman. "Tell Fei Lian! Tell her!" This is what a real man looks like in an apocalypse. Why am I attracted to this chaos? Save more people, you legend. End of hour 9. New faction spotted 9. New faction spotted 5 blocks east. Unmarked uniforms. American accents. One of them asked for Hikikomori by name. Smiled when he said it. "You want to roll into hour 10? Hour 10, 3 p.m. 4 p. Location, underground parking structure, City Records building. Concrete, screams, and shadow play. Status 35 survivors, 91k TikTok followers, rival faction engaged, Falian armed, 1 confirmed kiss, 18 undead. The parking lot stank of rot and brake fluid, concrete pillars, corpses, silence, and metal echoes. Hikikomori led point. Falian walked beside him now, not behind. Her hair was matted with dried blood. She didn't flinch anymore. He noticed that. He liked that. They found them. Rival faction, ex-cops, militia dropouts, armed, drunk, loud, sloppy, dangerous, human. They'd barricaded the underground loading ramp, 5 survivors tied up, 2 shot dead, 1 screaming. Falian whispered, "They're torturing them." Hikikomori said nothing. He just stepped out from the dark, hands raised, no fear. "You want attention?" He smiled. "I'm Hikikomori. You've seen me." They aimed guns. Hikikomori grinned wider. "That means I own your next 10 seconds. Falian moved like lightning. She'd taken the knife to the nearest thug's throat, blood sprayed. Hikikomori rushed the leader, bat to the jaw, skull broke like porcelain. The rest scattered or died screaming. The 5 survivors sobbed in thanks. Hikikomori didn't speak. He just checked Faye's hand. She was bleeding from the palm. Without a word, he wrapped it with his shirt. Tight, gentle, dominant. She didn't pull away. Later, as they dragged supplies into the freight elevator, she touched his back. He turned, face like stone. She kissed him, quick, bloody, real, then backed away. Didn't speak. He just stared, then whispered, "I'll kill anyone who tries to take you." She didn't smile, just said, "Then kill the world." TikTok live, 91k comments. They kissed, they kissed, they kissed. Holy sh! That knife kill was smooth af. This ain't just survival anymore. This is a goddamn revolution. Protect Faye at all costs. Bros building an army and falling in love. Peak cinema. As they rode the elevator up to the archives, Faye leaned into him. He didn't flinch this time, but his eyes were already calculating. There would be no peace. Not now. Not until he controlled every block, every faction, every last survivor. Hour 11, 4 p.m., 4th floor archive wing, City Records building. Fires flicker outside broken glass. Sirens fade, the sun bleeds low. Status, 40 survivors, 108k TikTok followers, Falian safe, rival faction neutralized, 31 undead, 2 new bites. The screams outside had changed. More frantic, desperate, no more police codes, just begging. Hikikomori had barricaded the archive room using toppled filing cabinets and metal shutters. Dust and blood stuck to his face. His bat was red again. He leaned over a coughing survivor, pressing gauze to a wound. Faye watched, then stepped in, pressing the man's shoulder flat. The man winced. Falian said softly, "You move again, you die." Hikikomori glanced up. She caught his gaze. They shared a long silence, one charged with trust, with violence, with outside, gunfire, American accents, private security, hired contractors, a foreign flag on a Kevlar vest. They were cleansing the block. Not saving it, just clearing it, killing everything that moved. Brutal decision. There was a family, mother, 2 kids, running toward the building from the opposite street. Zombies chased them. Contractors aimed rifles. Hikikomori could open the side gate, but that meant exposing everyone. Faye said quietly, "Don't, they're already dead." He didn't move until the daughter screamed, "Help us, please!" He moved, ripped open the gate, Bowie knife in hand. Faye covered him with a pistol, eyes burning. The family made it in. 2 zombies did too. He didn't hesitate, caved one skull in, knifed the other in the eye. Blood soaked his arms. He turned, locked eyes with Faye across the room. She wasn't angry, she wasn't scared. She was proud. Later. The others slept in shifts. Some cried, some prayed. Faye and Hikikomori sat in the dark, knees almost touching. Wind howled outside through broken vents. She touched the edge of his jaw, wiped dried blood off. Falian whispered, "Why do you keep saving people?" He didn't answer right away. Then, "Because no one ever saved me." Silence. She leaned in. They kissed again, slower, deeper. Not passion, not lust, just connection. 2 broken people learning how to hold each other. He pulled away just slightly. If you stay with me, he said, I'll break the world for you. TikTok live. He saved a whole family, I'm crying. Is this still a zombie story or a fucking love story? Faye and Hiki are everything, Aaron. OTP. Bro out here slicing zombies like it's nothing. Was that an American soldier? WTF is going on? The world was ending, and inside that blood-soaked archive room, they were building something else. Something colder, something unshakable, something with teeth. Hour 12, 5 p.m. location, rooftop, City Records building. Sky bleeding into dusk, smoke pillars rise across downtown, a drone hums in the distance. Status 43 survivors, 121k TikTok followers, Phalian safe, zombies increasing, contractors sweeping, hikikomori changed. The rooftop was quiet. Below, the city burned. Car alarms screamed like banshees. Contractor radios buzzed with foreign orders. No rescue, no evac, just silence. Hikikomori stood near the ledge, bat on his back, shirt half torn, blood dried in his hair like war paint. Phalian joined him, arms crossed, coat over her shoulder. Wind blew her long black hair sideways. She looked like a ghost, a model turned warrior. They didn't speak for a while. The hum of the drone circled. Far off, automatic fire echoed like thunder. You scared? He asked. Always, she answered. You regret not staying locked in your unit? Faye gave a faint smile. I regret not meeting you before the world ended. He looked at her then, really looked. And he saw it, not just fear, not just beauty, but loyalty, fire, survival. Inside, a boy with a cracked tablet live-streamed on TikTok. The feed showed Hikikomori and Phalian silhouetted against the burning skyline. Comments flashed. These two are the reason I'm still watching. Is this real? This feels like a movie. They kiss, and the outbreak ends, I'm calling it. He's him. She's her. Period. Hikikomori turned to Faye, blood on his boots, grime under his nails, but his eyes were clear. I want you in this with me. Not just the fight, all of it. Faye narrowed her eyes. That your idea of a confession? He stepped closer, took her hand, placed it against his chest, right over his hammering heart. No. Then he kissed her. For real this time. Not out of desperation. Not survival, but because he chose her, and she kissed back, full of tension, pain, hope, and the impossible spark of love born in blood. Below, more undead poured from alleyways. Above, the drone hovered. Faye broke the kiss. We're a couple now, huh? Yeah. That mean I get a say in how we run this army? You get half. Good. She cocked her pistol. Because they're coming up the stairs. TikTok comments. Bro, they're a power couple now, WTF. You're seeing this? He built a fucking army and bagged a goddess. Zombies versus the couple of the year. Let's go. And with that, they walked back into the building together as the 12th hour ended and the real war began.